today's flash briefing, I am joined by Connor. He's one of our wealth advisors in our Central Illinois office locations. And today we're going to dive further into life insurance and really kind of dig into, do you need life insurance or do you not? And if you do need it, how much life insurance is right for your particular situation? So before we get into that though, Connor, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Drew. How are you?
I am good, man. I'm good. So how's your weather been in Illinois?
Yeah, Illinois it's been nice. So we had some rain, and you were from around here in Illinois before. The end of August is always so hot, but it's been pretty cool lately. So that's something we're really thankful for.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. A little bit of rain doesn't hurt, and hopefully harvest will come, and it'll be a great season. It's my favorite season in Illinois is harvest season. So looking forward to hearing how that goes from all of our clients in the farming industry. Connor, today we're really going to talk about the next step after the tools, which is, do I need life insurance or do I not? And if I do, how much of it should I have? And so, Connor, I'll ask you, I think you have a great answer for this. Is life insurance even necessary for me? Who should be considering life insurance at this point in time?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question, Drew. And so the way I always think about life insurance is that you're not planning for the worst because a lot of times people view life insurance and they say, "Ah, it's scary. I don't want to think about that negative thought." So you're not planning for the worst, but rather you're creating a plan to give yourself freedom from the stress of what might happen. So really, if you're somebody who is having a large amount of debt, if you have a spouse, if you have children, those are all huge areas where you should definitely have life insurance to be able to give yourself the freedom from being concerned about what would happen if you passed to those individuals that you love and care about so much.
Sure.
So definitely should be considering it if you have people near you that rely on you.
Sure, for sure. And so I think that's a great rule of thumb. And if you've watched any of our videos over the last number of years, you've often heard us say rules of thumb are a great starting point, but they're not the end all be all. And Connor, you kind of alluded to the fact that you need a plan, an individualized plan for all areas of your financial life, life insurance included. So let's kind of talk about some of these rules of thumb when it comes to life insurance. What would be probably the number one rule of thumb that people hear when it comes to life insurance in relation to their salary?
Yeah. So maybe you've gotten to the point where you say, I do need life insurance, and you're going to do some searching on the internet, and you'll find the biggest rule of thumb that comes across is that we need 10 times of our annual income in life insurance coverage. So if you make $50,000 a year, that rule of thumb would say, okay, you need $500,000 of coverage. But like you had said, that's a rule of thumb, and really that doesn't hit to the specific wants and needs that each individual person has. So that's where it's really important to consider the whole financial picture that you're dealing with.
Sure. So let's kind of walk through a scenario here, right? Let's give people an example to kind of think about. So let's say we have a family, they have two kids, and they have a mortgage on their house. And so if we're using the 10x rule of thumb, let's say household earnings $100,000. And so that would mean that you need $1 million of insurance. But you also have a mortgage and you have two kids who maybe want to go to college or a trade school. They're going to have some further expenses. So how would we, whenever we're looking at planning for life insurance here at Creekman Wealth, how would we walk through that situation?
Yeah. So the first thing we would do is sort of talk to you about your values and your goals within money and what that looks like. And so most people would say, I really value taking care of my family. And so whenever you consider that, you look at the age of your children, the income of your spouse and the needs of your spouse, and the expenses you're having each year. So that would be your starting point is how much do I need to pay to take care of my family until my children are out of high school or until my children are entering that phase of life where it's going to trade schools, going to college, going off to the workforce. The next thing you consider is, hey, what's my financial picture look like? What are my debts? What are my assets? What are things that I need to have covered? Then you would include that in there to say, I'm going to cover all debts so my significant other doesn't have to worry about it. And then from there, you would also consider maybe I want to take care of my kids' further expenses after they get out of the house, whether that's covering college needs, maybe providing a little bit of income to give them to buy a car, something like that. You would need to say, let's consider that additional on top of. So there's a whole picture and wide variety of aspects to consider whenever it comes to financials. And then once you dig into that, you would sort of walk back and say, what quality of life would this death benefit provide for my family? And if that's a satisfactory quality of life, then you can be happy knowing that you've provided well.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, you've already said it, it's a conversation that's really not fun to have for a lot of people, obviously. But in all the decades that we've been doing it, all the folks that we've had the conversation with who have ultimately, there's been a need because something happened, right? Hopefully it never does happen, but in the situations where it has happened, um, people have been really thankful that we walked through those steps and that they had that hard conversation to really ensure that their family is taken care of. And so it's one of those things that we would encourage you, if you've not had that conversation, or maybe you just have 1.5 times or 2 times your pay through your employer, go ahead and just ask our team, say, hey, how much life insurance should I have? We'd love to run those numbers for you and have that conversation with you and figure out if you do need life insurance or if you don't. And so we would encourage you to reach out to us and let us know if you want to have a deeper conversation there. So thanks for your time, guys. Hope you found this helpful. Let us know if you have any questions, and we look forward to talking with you soon.